What if being a multi-passionate is actually the thing that makes people fall in love with you and binge your brand instead of this problem that you have to solve, that you have to constantly try and niche down and like cut off parts of yourself in order to fit into a box that is digestible for other people? You know how like there's that quote that says, instead of trying to be like palatable for other people, you're just going to like let them choke on you. I butchered that, but you get what I'm saying. That's what we're trying to do as a multi-passionate, is not to fit into this image in our head of what we're supposed to be. We're just going to allow ourselves to completely be who we are. However, of course, we need like a little sprinkle of strategy, a little sprinkle of a plan, but not one that makes us feel confined, rather something that actually helps us lean even more into who we are as a multi-passionate. And the way that me as a multi-passionate neurodivergent girly has decided to do this is that I have developed a framework. And part of me loves frameworks and part of me hates frameworks because, I one day want to have this like perfect routine that I follow, and then the next day I can't stand that, and like I need to just go run wild in the fields among the wildflowers. And so the way that we are going to do this is we have a framework that doesn't restrict our daily choices, but is rather something to return to when we feel like we're getting a little too far afield, right? When I'm out running in that field of wildflowers and like accidentally fall into quicksand, I don't have to go the way of that horse in the Neverending Story. I can just like have like a friend there who can pull me out. So that's what we're going to do. And we do this by mythologizing ourselves in our brand. We are the muse of the brand, because I don't know about you, but like I have to actually like what I'm doing. I have to actually care about what I'm doing. I have to wake up every day and be like, oh, yay, I'm excited to actually talk about that and create content about that and serve people with offers about that thing. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to procrastinate, and I'm going to make content that kind of sucks and sounds like AI drivel, right? So here we go. This brand mythology is based on your stories. We are going to mine your past stories to create a brand lore map, which is 5 main stories that influence every decision that you make in your brand from then on. Okay? Now, don't worry, because there can be multiple versions of this that you go to depending on what you're working on at the time. But here it is. Story number 1. By the way, story number 1 here, it's your origin story. I do have a workbook on this that you can get for free at my link if you are interested in getting started with this. So the origin story. This is, why are we even here? What was the moment in your life that caused you to make a pivot towards where you're at now? And your origin story has to also intersect with your audience's origin story. So who, like right now, the person I'm talking to right now, you're also probably a multi-passionate person trying to build a brand who is a little bit outside the box, who maybe also likes, like fantasy and Ren Fair stuff. And I don't know, is certainly not like the typical clean girl aesthetic person. Maybe you are, but there's enough of an overlap between who I am as a person and who you are as a person that it all makes sense. And so as we're crafting your origin story, we want this to be something that your audience can still relate to. And that's the theme that we're going to keep coming back to over and over again. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Your brand can be about whatever you want it to be about, but the person on the other end of this phone, on the other end of the screen, they have to get it. They have to understand it, and they have to care about it. And so the person that we are deciding, because we get to decide who that audience is, the person we're deciding to speak to, we just have to make sure that that is the person who's going to get all of our crazy. They're going to get all of our side quests. They're going to get all of our little rabbit holes that we go down, because they're into that too. And the origin story is like the framework for that. So after we have our origin story, we talk about our villain story. Who or what is the thing that we've had to fight against? The thing that like is our nemesis. Okay. This can be a literal person, but a lot of times it's a thought. It is a system. like the patriarchy and all the other things that go with it. It could be your internal negative self-talk that you've had to overcome. But again, going back to the person that we're talking to, our audience, they should have a shared villain as well. Next, we go to your magic. Now, this is where you may divert from your audience a little bit. What is your personal magic in the way that you've defeated that villain and kicked their ass or are still currently fighting them? And this is something that you want to now share with that audience who we got invested by telling our origin and our villain story, right? We're saying, hey, we have this magic thing. Do you want some of it? Next is the prophecy. The prophecy is your big vision. If you could project yourself into the future 5 years, what's it going to look like? Because of the magic that you're sharing. And then finally is the alchemy. And this is the more literal transformation. So if we have your magic spread everywhere, your prophecy is achieved, what's the day-to-day life look like? And when we map these 5 stories out, this puts together the like backbone of your brand. This is every single thing that you do from now on. You just have to refer back to this and say, okay, does it match up with this? Yes or no? And if it does, then you're good. And if it doesn't, then maybe it's something you need to rethink. But it doesn't mean as a multi-passionate that you have to just say like, okay, I have this idea and it doesn't quite fit with my brand lore. I can't do it. No, it's like, let's think through how we can talk about it. So for example, on Easter, the boys had sports on the TV, and I decided that I am not going to allow sports to be the default because men are the ones who have to control the remote. And so I put on Legally Blonde, okay? And I love Legally Blonde. And I decided I wanted to talk about it on the internet. But what I had to do was, think through, okay, what does Legally Blonde have to do with my brand lore and my audience? And so what I talked about was what did I talk about? Like this is the ADHD. It's like I just talked about this the other day. Now I can't remember. Oh, I'm talking to you on my phone and I can't even look it up. Point being, I found a way to connect Legally Blonde to what I talk about here on the internet. And if I didn't have this like brand lore map, if I didn't have this personal mythology woven into my brand, then it would have been a lot harder to make Elle Woods make sense on my marketing channel. All right, so go and grab the origin story workbook. That's free. I also have Brand Renaissance, which is a 4-week program. It starts April 20th, and I do restart them like every quarter, just about. So if it's past April 20th, you can grab a spot on the wait list probably. And I'll see you in the next one.